As dawn breaks in eastern Nebraska, the feed trucks are already rolling at Mead Cattle Company. Buck Wehrbein has managed this feed yard for more than 25 years. He got started cattle feeding in Texas before moving back to Nebraska.
I think being part of the cattle business was a natural fit. I was born and raised on a small farm in eastern Nebraska. We had cattle, hogs, and chickens. My grandfather was a cattle feeder. My other grandfather from Germany was a dairy farmer, so I've been around bovine all my life. Checking cattle, looking at feed has never gotten old. So one of the cool things about working at a feedlot is in a position like mine, I can always come out here and look at livestock and get away. With cell phones, you don't get away, but kind of.
As much as he loves his daily work in the cattle business, Buck places an even higher priority on his faith and on the family he and his wife Sandy have raised.
I met Sandy when she was 16, and they moved from Omaha to Elkhorn, and I've never recovered. And so, married 52 years this year, and she's been a great helpmate and partner and supporter, and when we moved to Texas, she was all in.
At their home in Nebraska, Buck and Sandy enjoy every chance to grill a steak and share time with their family, which now even includes great-grandchildren.
To see your children have children is very rewarding, but then seeing them as grandparents and being all in, there's just nothing quite like it.
Similar to the dedication he has to family, Buck is also committed to the beef industry. He's served in a variety of NCBA leadership roles and at the state level on the Nebraska Beef Council.
Buck came to us as a board member, and we are really thrilled that he served for 8 years on our board. And after the first year, I said to him, what do you think? What have I done right? What do you need to know more? And he said, I had no idea the responsibility on my shoulders of making decisions for my fellow producers. And he said, next to church, this is the most rewarding thing I've ever done.
It's one thing to work in this business and be in this business and own the livestock and everything, but when you start talking about beef demand and what the checkoff can do and the operating committee and all those things, and then policy in Washington, you realize how much we need each other and how much our collective brains are a lot better than any of our individual brains.
As the 2025 president of NCBA, Buck sees both opportunities and challenges ahead for cattle producers.
I look back at some of the words of Mr. Springer that decided we need to have this organization, and what they were looking at, it was things we still have today, freight and taxes and government overreach. It's still going on. And so, you have to keep at that. And once again, having a unifying organization like NCBA is imperative, really, for that. If NCBA is not there working on our behalf, then nobody is. I remember going up to see one of our senators with Nebraska Cattlemen, and as we were leaving, the Humane Society of the United States was coming in. And of course I didn't know that, and Michael Kelsey said, well, that's, and I realized, man, you cannot not be here, because they're here. So it's just fundamentally, absolutely necessary, I think.
One NCBA policy priority is getting an extension of the tax cuts that will otherwise expire at the end of 2025.
Taxes are huge for us. They were talking about doing away with deduction of expenses some years back, and that would be devastating and catastrophic. And so we just can't ever take our foot off the gas on that. And the death tax, because we are such a high volume, low margin business, that with what land has done, if you have to sell it or split it up and pay the taxes on that at the time, I mean, it would put a lot of people out of business.
Buck Wehrbein looks forward to his year as NCBA president, aiming to provide strong business opportunities for everyone in the beef cattle industry.
The overarching principle and aim of NCBA is to make things better and make things in a way that where we can function and do our job. So that's a strength of NCBA, that we're not just big feedlots or big ranches. We're everybody.